Well, hey everyone, this is Jonathan from Mr. Pearson Talks Books. I'm a school teacher, a third grade teacher to be exact, and I love connecting my students with great books, so I want to help teachers and parents be able to do the same thing. Just finished the month of March, so we finished the first quarter of the year, and I want to share with you the top 5 books that I have read this in the first 3 months. According to my Goodreads, I've read 37 books already. Now that seems like a lot, but some of them were graphic novels, so they were a little shorter. Some of them were Goosebumps, so they're just barely over 100 pages. And from those, I picked out the top 5 middle grade books that I've read that I enjoyed the most. Now, this list does have those 5 plus 2 honorable mentions. Let me start off with Nevermore, The Trials of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. And this is a story about a girl named Morrigan. She's actually what's known as a cursed child because of when she was born. And being a cursed child, anything that happens, anything that goes wrong, they immediately blame it on her. So she's constantly having to write apology notes. That's actually one of my favorite parts. And the curse also says that on the night of her 12th birthday, 11th birthday, she is destined to die. And so they're getting closer and closer. And just before this is about to happen, she is rescued by a very enigmatic stranger named Jupiter. And this gentleman takes her to the hotel where he lives and tells her that she is going to enter this competition and she has to go through all of these different trials. Now, this book is like Harry Potter, which might be why I liked it so much. There's actually 3 that are written so far. I've only read the first one. There is a 4th one coming out later this summer, so I really got to get on it if I'm going to read that one. But she goes through the different trials. She meets other friends that help her as she goes through these things, as she's trying to discover what her magic is. And of course, there is the villain as well. And I was actually quite surprised by who the villain was. But anyway, this book is called Nevermore, The Trials of Morrigan Crow. Highly recommended. It is great, teachers, parents. It is great for, I would say, kids 9 and up. So maybe late 3rd grade and on. It is a bit of a bigger book. Probably about 400 pages, I believe it was. But it is fantastic. It was a lot of fun to read. Then I also read The First State of Being by Erin Entrada Kelly. And this is the Newbery Award winner for 2025. And this is kind of a time travel story. It's about a boy. He lives with his mom. He lives in constant fear of everything. It takes place in the year 1999. So the biggest fear in his head is the Y2K crisis that was supposed to happen. If you were alive during that time, you remember all of the seriousness that came along with that. But he's living in constant fear of that. He's still upset because he got sick and is her job because of having to take off time to care for him. And then meanwhile, he and a girl who his mom hires to babysit, they meet this stranger, this strange boy who just shows up in their apartment complex, who claims to be from the future. And so they're trying to help him navigate, trying to figure out, and all the while trying to figure out how to get this strange kid back home. It is a great book. It's a little bit on the serious side. It's got that science fiction element to it, but really liked this book. It was a lot of fun to read. It was a very sweet book, particularly about the young man trying to discover who he was and to overcome his fears. My favorite part is when you get to the end and you see how all of these different things play out that were mentioned throughout the book. It was great, highly deserving of the Newbery Award. Another book, this was also by Erin Entrada Kelly. But this one was called We Dream of Space. And it was about 3 kids, Cash and Fitch and Bird, who they're all siblings, they're all in the 7th grade, in January of 1986. And if you know things about history, January 1986, there was a massive tragedy when the Challenger space shuttle exploded. It took off, and there was a problem with one of the seals or an O-ring, something very, very small, which caused the space shuttle to explode shortly after it took off. Anyway, these three kids are trying to navigate seventh grade. They're trying to navigate a very hostile environment at home where mom and dad are constantly fighting with each other. Fitch has a lot of anger, and the only thing he really cares about is a video game. And Bird wants to be the first shuttle commander for NASA. And at the school, they have a teacher who wanted to be one of the astronauts on the Challenger and who has designed her entire curriculum around the Space Shuttle Challenger and the launch that's going to take place. And in this book, I'll tell you, there was a lot of tension. I knew what was going to happen, but each of the chapters is titled after a day that's getting closer and closer and closer to when the Challenger launched. So you had that tension building, and you're trying to, I was thinking, oh no, how are they going to handle this? What is going to happen? And then when they got to it, it was, I'll admit, I had some tears in my eyes because of how it was played out. Beautiful story about three siblings coming together to help each other go through a very dark time in U.S. history. Great book. It won the Newbery Honor. I think I may have mentioned that. It did win the Newbery Honor. Erin Entrada Kelly, everything she writes gets awards, it seems like. I believe she's won the Newbery Medal twice. This book, teachers and parents, this book probably late fourth grade. I would definitely recommend it 10 and up. There's some dark stuff, some maybe some triggering stuff, some stuff that's hard to read. Particularly Fitch, he has an incident that happens in class that was pretty hard to read. But so yeah, definitely keep that in mind. Moon Garden by Michelle Berry, and this was a science fiction retelling of The Secret Garden, and it's about a girl. She goes to school on the moon because Earth is no longer able to be inhabited because the plants became toxic, and everyone that goes to this school is supposed to have a certain type of magic, whether it's electronic magic or it's chemistry magic. She is supposed to be what's called a number whisperer, meaning she's good at math, because both of her parents are. Her parents are like math geniuses. And it turns out she doesn't have that magic. She's good at math, but she doesn't have math magic. Well, one night she's wandering around kind of feeling sorry for herself, and she stumbles upon a mysterious classroom, and there's a robot in there, and she goes down this tunnel and discovers a garden full of plants. And what's wild about that is that all plants have been outlawed. Seeds, if you have seeds, that's a criminal offense. But she finds this garden and learns that she actually has plant magic. She's able to communicate and take care of plants in a way that other people can't. So there's this whole mystery as to where did the garden come from? Why is it there? And through that, she's able to make friends until some of the adults find out what's going on. It was great. It's book one of a trilogy. Very much looking forward to it. Teachers and parents, this one, 8 years old and up, I think that would be appropriate. Maybe some late third grade. It is a little bit of a thicker book, but it was fantastic. Really liked it. And then the last one on my list, a book called The Book Wanderers by Anna James. And this is in the first book in the Pages & Co. Series. And it's about a girl named Tilly and her friend Oscar who discover that they can actually travel into books. When they're in a bookstore or a library, someplace like that, they're able to go inside the books and interact with the characters. And she discovers this because one day she's going upstairs, and sitting in her book nook is a girl with red hair who introduced herself as Anne with an E, what happens to be Anne from Anne of Green Gables. And then she sees her grandmother talking to Lizzie from Pride and Prejudice, which is my wife's favorite book. So read through that, then there's a mystery. She's trying to discover what happened to her mom, why her mom disappeared, and who this mysterious Mr. Chalk is that's following them around. Great book, really loved it. Can't wait to read more in the series. Definitely recommend this one for third grade and up. It's ages 8 and up would be very appropriate to read this book. And then honorable mentions. I can't make a list of my favorite books without mentioning a book that I read again for like the 15th or 16th time. And that's When You Reach Me by Rebecca Stead. This is a book I read to my students every year. We always wait till the end of the year because I want them to grow up just a little bit before I read it to them. But it is my absolute favorite book. It's about a girl named Miranda. They call her Mira. And she lives in New York City, and she's trying to navigate friend relationships and all the intricacies of that, while at the same time trying to understand where these mysterious notes that seem to talk about the future come from. It is my absolute favorite book. I love it. I read it again. I read it in 2 days. And then the last one on my honorable mention list, I am rereading through the Harry Potter series right now, and I have made it up to book 4, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I'll be reading that shortly. But on this list of my favorite books that I've read so far, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Love this book. I can't remember. It might have been the first Harry Potter book that I read. I know it was definitely the first Harry Potter movie that I saw. You know, I love this story. I love the mystery that goes into it and all of that. I like how it's a smaller story as opposed to some of the more big grand ones, like Chamber of Secrets is this big grand one with the basilisk and stuff. This one's more contained, and I really like that about that. So anyway, those are my top 5 plus 2 favorite books that I've read so far in the months of January, February, and March. Hopefully I'll do another video like this once we get through April, May, and June, so look for it in July. But what were your favorite books that you read so far this first 3 months? Do you have a favorite book? Did you resonate with any of the ones that I mentioned? I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. And teachers, are there any books that you would recommend or you are interested in? And my name is Jonathan. This is Mr. Pearson Talks Books, and we'll see you in the next video.